What do the Federal Reserve, World Economic Forum, and Ripple have in common? Well, they're going to be the subject of my opening joke for today's episode, which is this. We have a representative from the Federal Reserve, the World Economic Forum, and two representatives from Ripple walk into a bar. Now, the question is, who picks up the tab? Now, many people might suggest that it would be the Federal Reserve because they have the money printer and they can make it go burr, right? Unlimited money. Others would suggest it would be the World Economic Forum because they want to control the entire world. But the answer is it's going to be Ripple, it's going to be Brad and Chris because they had to buy themselves a seat at the table. So you guys let me know. Maybe you guys can come up with a better joke. Representative from the Fed, World Economic Forum, and Ripple walk into a bar. Give me your best joke in the comments down below. Can't wait to see it. But the point being, guys, is we got the World Economic Forum representative. She used to be at the World Economic Forum, at least. Sheila Warren, going to be hosting the fireside chat with Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson at the Philadelphia Fed 8th Annual FinTech Conference. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the SEC versus Ripple case. Will there be an appeal? We have John Deaton giving us some comments and thoughts. And then we're going to take a quick look here at what's taking place in the current events in the market, which, as you can see from my backlight, we got the green light behind me. You know what that means. Let's get started right away, folks. So starting off here, continuing to pray for peace, but we continue to see new escalations in this war here. IDF striking Hezbollah headquarters in Beirut, Lebanon. Target was Nasrallah. IDF spokesman says, quote, the headquarters was located under residential buildings in the stronghold of the terrorist organization. 4 residential buildings were destroyed in the raid targeting Hezbollah's leader, but it is unclear if he was president. Now, speaking of war, we have a wartime leader in Zelensky coming to Trump Tower today to meet with President Trump. Trump says, I have a very good relationship with President Putin. Zelensky says, I hope we have more good relations with us. And Trump says, it takes 2 to tango. And so the deal is happening there in Trump Tower today between Zelensky and President Trump. We'll continue to see what comes of that. We did just get more approval, $8 billion of weapons to Israel. The rumors were going to be another $8 billion for Ukraine. I'm yet to see if that got approved yet or not. But nonetheless, we see Zelensky doing his deal, working both sides of this campaign, working with Kamala and then now meeting with Trump. We'll see what happens in that regard, but we continue to pray for peace. We got that situation with the war still going on. We got the storm hitting Florida, the panhandle down there. Praying for all those folks down there. Comment down below and let me know if you're down there, if you're in the area, if you've been impacted by that. Our thoughts and prayers are with you, and we hope that all the support and resources are coming your way. Going to be another big one. And this is all happening at a time when Bitcoin's just oblivious to all this. The war, this election cycle, a hurricane coming through. Bitcoin continues to move back up here, and we got to watch this one closely because it broke out. Bitcoin finally broke out yesterday, back above 65,000. We're back up here to 66,300 right now as I'm recording this. Earlier, just a couple hours ago, we were up to 66,576. And so we're going to see if Bitcoin can flip that 65 into support. That will be a show of strength in breaking the trend. And so the next resistance that I see for Bitcoin is going to be 68 to 69,000. We're going to be watching that one closely. Now, I did share, though, with my Discord group, I just shared this. I said, this chart just flipped bullish, but you know what is hitting the fan in the world around us. Too many black swan scenarios in play to make me comfy, but you know what they say, scared money don't make money. And I said I will update the Discord group on any opportunities that I see out there. Now, as far as scared money don't make money, we see this is why money market funds have soared to an all-time high record here of 6.76 trillion is because folks have gone to cash, folks have gone to security, right? And they're taking profits out of the stock market. We've tracked the insider selling off. And then we see folks taking profits on the bonds as well. Now that the rates are going to be coming back down, yields are actually going back up because the bond market's already priced in this rate cut. Now folks are selling off. But what we're watching here is that there's still plenty of money on the sideline here to come on into this game, 6.76 trillion. Now, where are they going to deploy it? This is what gets interesting, is that we have Wall Street not only shilling Bitcoin, and I covered it yesterday, how it was so funny. Gary Gensler, He finally has to admit that, yes, Bitcoin's not a security, but what does he do? He quickly shields you the Bitcoin ETFs offered by his buddies at Wall Street. So you're not going to be your own bank. You're not going to be doing self-custody. I will admit that it's not a security, but you should buy the security offering, which is the ETF offered by my friends over at Wall Street. And speaking of Wall Street getting ready to shill you, this is Grayscale shilling the XRP Trust once again, and I'm all for it. Hey, you got something of value, sell your product. I'm not going to be buying any of these ETFs, but I will be buying the underlying assets, in this case, XRP. Eligible to accredited investors seeking exposure to XRP. And so Grayscale, I'm waiting to see their ads popping up on the website. On a bunch of different websites, we've already seen the Grayscale ETF for Ethereum, their Bitcoin. They've been selling all of them. And so now with the XRP Trust, how much longer until they roll this one into an ETF? How much longer till we get additional XRP ETFs? And like I said, with a record all-time high amount of money market funds, there's plenty of cash to deploy into the cryptocurrency space. And, I'm looking right now at which assets are going to run. Gold already done a historical run. I still think that there's a lot of life there, a lot of life in silver, a lot of life in the miners, actually. I think that they still have some time to eventually come. That might not be down the road for a bit, though, but I think that there's a play to be made there. When we look at, tech, it seems like has been oversold, and for sure, the valuations are not cheap. So folks are looking for safety. That's why gold's been pumping, and that's why money market funds are at an all-time high. When they start to feel comfy after we get through this turbulence, whatever they hit us with, like I said, there's still way too many black swan scenarios present for me to get excited and feel comfy that Bitcoin's broken out. Okay, this is the path to all-time high. Measure the fib extension. Where does it go? I think, maybe we do break 100,000. I don't know how much further we're going to go than that. But hey, I'm not getting excited. I'm not getting comfy yet, even though we've broken out on the charts. We got to take a look at the world around us, and it ain't smooth sailing. Now, single-handedly, this might push us into the next phase of this bull run, though, with CZ getting early release today after serving 119 days in prison. Convicted for failing to implement KYC, he resigned as CEO but remains Binance's largest shareholder. He's released here today due to the weekend policy. I guess if you're going to get released on the weekend, they just send you out on Friday. So CZ is back into the game, and maybe this is just a coincidence that Bitcoin's breaking out and maybe starting the next phase of its bull run. Or maybe, just maybe, as we've proven and shown in the past, CZ was one of the biggest, as I call them, market maker magicians in this cryptocurrency space. And so he's going to be back in the game. To which extent he was out of the game while he was serving time, who knows, right? I mean, making a couple phone calls from behind his the confinement of his jail cell. Maybe he's still been in the game, but he's back out. We'll see. I think this is bullish for the space, I will say. But with these market maker magicians comes manipulation on both sides, pumping it up and also bringing it back down. So we'll continue to watch that. And in regards to this crypto case with the SEC, I wanted to talk on this real quick. Eleanor Terrett came in with the scoop yesterday saying a former SEC lawyer who recently left the agency tells me the SEC will probably appeal Judge Torres' July 2023 ruling concerning the XRP programmatic sales in the Ripple case, particularly or partly because everyone over there at the SEC truly believes that the decision is wrong, that it's not good law, and it should be appealed. Going to do a deeper dive into the SEC's options and what we could see as we near the October 7th appeal deadline. Now, Jeremy Hogan comments, of course they think the opinion is wrong. They were on the losing side. What the SEC should be thinking of right now is whether an appeal furthers its mandate of investor protection and capital formation. Why isn't that top of mind? More evidence that the SEC has lost the plot. John Dean comments, as someone who knows the Ripple case very well, considering I was an active litigant for over 2.5 years and considering Judge Torres cited my amicus brief and the 3,800 XRP holder affidavits I submitted, as well as my efforts as amicus counsel in the library case, see footnote 16, let me comment. In the Ripple case, Judge Torres did not apply all three factors of the Howey test. Some people describe the Howey test as a 4-factor test because the third factor has 2 prongs. Either way, I don't believe an appellate court will rule Judge Torres was in error on applying the third prong. And so if the SEC were to appeal, this goes to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, the appellate court, right? Judge Torres made her ruling very fact-specific. The SEC did not rely on any expert testimony related to XRP holders. It was excluded anyway, but the judge did rely, however, on the XRP holders' affidavits I submitted. So John Deaton and the XRP community did make a difference in this lawsuit. Don't be confused about that fact, folks. An appellate court could say, just as Judge Torres acknowledged, there could be a scenario where secondary sales could qualify as investment contracts because the facts meet all the Howey factors, but in the Ripple XRP case, the facts presented just don't satisfy it. Thus, the case gets affirmed on appeal, but it doesn't prevent the SEC from arguing secondary sales constitute investment contracts in other cases. So they could say that the exchanges selling XRP is a investment contract. They could say that me and you selling XRP to each other is an investment contract if they wanted to, right? So finally, Judge Torres ruled secondary sales on exchanges did not satisfy the third prong of Howey, and since all Howey factors must be satisfied, there was no need for her to apply the second prong, common enterprise. So the common enterprise factor was, in my opinion, the weakest part of the SEC's case against Ripple. Thus, even if the Second Circuit ruled Judge Torres erred in applying the third prong, the SEC doesn't win the case. The case would go back to Judge Torres for her to apply the common enterprise prong, and she would likely rule that the SEC didn't establish a common enterprise. If that happened, the SEC would lose again and then have to appeal all over. It makes no sense to appeal this ruling. If Judge Torres did rule against Ripple, Ripple could then appeal. It makes no sense. It would be a total waste of taxpayer money to appeal this decision, which is why someone like Gary Gensler might just appeal, right? So, when you break this down and you get this opinion from the lawyers, it doesn't look like they have a strong case. Judge Torres did a great thing in focusing on the facts of the three different types of sales, right? There was the sales to institutions, there was the programmatic sales to exchanges, and then there was other distributions. And this was them paying, basically paying people in XRP, right? Different sales of XRP that they did. Those were ruled not to be a security. The sales to exchanges, the programmatic ones, were ruled not to be an investment contract security, but the institutional ones were deemed to be a security. So the SEC has a chance to just accept this $125 million ticket where Gary Gensler and his SEC can parade around and he can, still try to get that promotion to the Treasury by saying, look at all this that we've collected from the crypto space. Look at how well we've protected investors. We've raised all sorts of money, collecting all these fines. We've protected investors. It's time for me to move on up to the Treasury. Or they can take the risky move in appealing a case that just is not strong. And if you talk to folks that aren't biased towards the SEC, they'll say the same things that John's leading to right here, was that Judge Torres ruled on the cases in front of her, which was not direct secondary market sales, right? There was sales to exchanges who then conducted secondary market sales. But what Judge Torres said was that XRP in and of itself was not the security in the programmatic sales and in the other distributions. And so this is where we all got excited in the secondary market, because we said, if that's not an investment contract to the exchanges, and it's not an investment contract in the other distributions, well, those other distributions are essentially the same thing that we are doing on the secondary market. XRP in and of itself is not being a security. That means that what we're doing is not a security. And so this is why the market as a whole, the general consensus is that XRP itself is not a security and tokens themselves are not a security, as Hester Pierce just testified in front of Congress this week. So does the SEC really want to go there? I don't think that they do. And so I think that the SEC and Ripple neither one of them are going to appeal. I think that this case is done. Ripple pays their fine, and we're about to open this thing up. Now, speaking of opening this thing up, riddle me this, XRP community, shared here by Subjective Views. Why is Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse speaking at the Philadelphia Fed on a panel called Recent Innovations in Payments? This is the 8th annual FinTech Conference, October 22nd and 23rd. Chris Larson, founder of Ripple, and Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, will be speaking at the Philadelphia Federal Reserve Bank. And this is going to be their 8th annual conference. And it's going to be a panel hosted here by Sheila Warren, CEO of Crypto Council for Innovation. Now, we slide on over to her LinkedIn because I want to remind everybody of where she comes from. Sheila Warren, currently serving as the Crypto Council for Innovation CEO for the past 2 years. She hosts the Money Reimagined show on CoinDesk. But before that, she was at the World Economic Forum for 5 years. Starting out here in 2017, founding head of blockchain and distributed ledger technology platform, 2017 to 2020 for 3 years. Head of data, blockchain, and digital assets executive committee from 2020 to 2022. And then finally serving here in her last year from 2021 to 2022, Deputy Global Head Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Folks, Sheila Warren, massive role in the blockchain program, the DLT program, and the Fourth Industrial Revolution that the World Economic Forum has been working on. So as I started out, you got a representative from the Federal Reserve, the World Economic Forum, and 2 representatives walk into a bar. Well, in this case, they're not walking into a bar. They're at the 8th annual FinTech conference that the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia is going to be hosting. And I'll let you guys finish it off with a better joke than I could. But this is something that we've been tracking now for years. This is why we haven't left our investment. This is why we haven't lost conviction, is because it's not a coincidence that the guys creating the internet of value, focusing with XRP as the heartbeat of Ripple, are speaking here with Sheila Warren, World Economic Forum at the Federal Reserve. In the middle of an SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, these meetings have not stopped, and we haven't seen Chris Larson actually speaking at these types of events publicly in a while. His public appearances are few and far between before he gets caught by TikTokers out catching him in his Porsche Cayenne, Porsche Cayenne, his $1 million Porsche, right? And the TikTokers catch him out there. And, other than that, Chris's public appearances have been limited. And so it'd be interesting to see what they have to say here at this conference. Going to be a big one. But without a doubt, Ripple still in the room. And I think, they've done what it takes to get a seat at the table. Whether that means Chris Larson was forced to support Kamala, or maybe he actually does, I don't know. I'll leave that up to you guys. Let me know in the comments down below. But folks, this is an exciting moment. We flipped bullish on the Bitcoin chart. We've definitely flipped bullish. We got the window of appeal expiring here on October 7th. We got Ripple Swell Conference coming up, stablecoin announcement, ETF, real-world asset partnerships, all going to be announced there at Ripple Swell. And then after that, Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, and Chris Larson going to be going to sit down with the Fed and the World Economic Forum. Everything is in place, folks. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below, and make sure you smack that thumbs down or thumbs up. Just leave me a reaction, leave me a comment, and everything else is at ZachRector.com if you're looking to get in touch or support us. God bless you all. Thank you. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.